to another episode of The Blue Sofa. I want to talk about a topic that I think we could explore a little bit more. And, one of my favorite things to share is, what is it that it really looks like to run a business, right? And what is that it really looks like to get a business started and also to scale a business. And there are moments in business, to be honest, where pushing through, working hard is the right thing to do. This is where you need to log in, you need to stay with it, you need to not quit the moment because it gets uncomfortable. You have to stay in that uncomfortable phase of growing that can be it can feel exhausting, right? But on the other hand, if pushing has become like the default state in your business, and if your business requires that you are constant, resilient, and it is not like in a growth phase, then it's actually asking to be redesigned. And that's what I want to talk about today. And I think this conversation is missing online because we have two voices. We have one voice that are telling us that's the voice that say push harder, be more disciplined, be more resilient. And then we have the other voice that says if you feel if it's hard, then something is wrong. If you experience hardship, then it's because you are misaligned. Then it's because you have to slow down or you have to stop. And what I see from coaching, teaching, mentoring 5,000 female entrepreneurs is that in the beginning, it is easy to quit because it feels hard, and growing will feel hard, right? And when you are not a beginner anymore, you did actually build things that did require that you are resilient, and you stayed when it would have been easier to quit. That's the story I always hear, right? And when we are a little further on our journey, you actually get tired of living in this survival mode inside your own business. So the contradictions here are real. In the beginning, you have to push through, right? And when it's a little further, it's not really necessary anymore. And it shouldn't be the foundation of your business. So I want to say really my clear experience here is that there are phases in your business where we do need to push. And those are very specific phases where logging in and doing the work is required to get results. That's when we have a launch. So we have a big campaign. We have to push through. We have to log in. We have to show up, This is transitions, when you want to change things in your business, you want to change from one business model to another, for example. It could be when you want to rebuild after something breaks, or you just had it could be after a health crisis, or after you've been away from your business for a while, you have to rebuild. It does take pushing. And also in the early validation phase, when you are just starting out, it takes pushing because you need to get into the market, right? And you need to learn how to hold more, and it takes you to be uncomfortable, to be honest. So it can feel like a lot, but it's just your comfort zone expanding. And also, you have to log in when you need to take responsibility instead of just walking away. But those phases will come and go. It's typically you can see, it's from this date to that date, right? It's 3 months of pushing through, or it's in December, January, and February, this is what I plan to do there. So those phases are real, and they're very, very necessary. And avoiding them doesn't make your actions aligned. It just keeps you small, right? But the part that really matters is that they come and they go. They are meant to call forth your strength, right? They need to help. They're here to help you transform into your next level leadership, basically. They're not here to consume your soul. They are here to strengthen you, not harden your heart. And that's where the difference really is. Strength is it looks like clarity. It looks like decisiveness. It looks like boundaries. When the opposite is like hardening. Hardening looks like you are closing your heart. You're like not recognizing your feelings anymore because you're numbing out. You're losing connection to yourself. Strength and hardening are two very different ways. And when we go through this push phase, we're doing it from strength, right? If a business phase demands that you disconnect from yourself long term, then it's not growth. Then it's erosion, right? And that is the compass I will invite you to keep returning to you as you listen, right? Because pushing is appropriate when it's in service of any kind of transition. Redesigning your business is required when pushing becomes maintenance. So these are really the two very different distinctions you need to make to understand when is it out of alignment to push and when is it in alignment to push. I think where the real conversation is, of course, now we understand that there are phases where we need to push and phases where it really is necessary, but like we need to redesign if it becomes a constant. And I think the real interesting conversation here is when we talk about resilience, because constant resilience is rarely about character. You know, where we are taught, and I teach this too, that we need to build a character. You know, we need to build resistance. We need to build discernment. We need to build radical responsibility, but not in a way where we're hardening our heart, but where we strengthen ourselves. But if we need to be constant resilient to run our business, then we have a design problem. Like the business model, the way we design our business, that's the problem, actually not our character. So when a business requires ongoing resilience, it's often because we have unclear positioning in the market. The offers are unclear. The delivery of our offers are unclear or misaligned. We have unclear boundaries with ourselves, with clients, with team members, with family members. Or your business model, you chose a business model that are amazing for another person and another person's design, but not yours. So if your business requires constant resilience, it is actually not asking you to grow. And I think this is what is something that's just so important. It is asking you to compensate because the way your business is designed is not healthy for you. And many people, especially women, they mistake that compensation for strength. So they think, oh, I'm not strong enough, I'm not resilient enough, I'm not like disciplined enough. But it's not about that. It's actually about the design of the business. So your business model, your business is built and designed in a way that takes too much of you. And my belief is, both from my own business, but also, being the sparring partner and being, the guide and the mentor for women, 6-7 figure women, that is that a business should most of the time feel calm, repeatable, predictable enough so you can rest, right? And spacious. Spacious, I mean mentally, emotional spaciousness. So it's peaceful to be in your business. And I want to go as far as saying that you should feel at ease in your business. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be easy. I mean, the more your comfort zone grow, the more you can hold, the better your nervous system is calibrated, the easier it becomes being in business. And it's not because we are removing effort, and there will always be problems and friction. But what really matters is that your resilience should be something you access when it's necessary, not like a whole lifestyle, right? And I think that's the reframe. That's definitely like the conversations that I would have on masterminds with my mastermind group. That's like the conversation I would have with my one-to-ones where they're like actually looking for a more peaceful, easeful way to be in the business. It has nothing to do with how many hours you work, how large your team is, but has something to do with the way you approach your business and the way your business is designed. And when your business is relying on resilience and it burns you out, it's typically because it's designed in a way that is not suitable for who you are. So let's talk about let's talk about design principles. Like, how do we design a business that actually is aligned to you? So a business that doesn't burn you out, that let you thrive, that like helps you be your best version of yourself. Again, this is not like there won't be problems, it will still take effort, there will be friction and all that stuff. Like those things are, like I said before, I started like pushing or like finding new solutions to things, innovating in your leadership or your products and so on. That's there for building strength. And building strengths is amazing. But when we are talking about design, we are designing businesses in a way where they are super aligned to you. So it's joyful to show up in business. Like we always talk about, well, I don't know if you do that, but that's something I've been like really interested in, is like, how do I design a life? How do I design an everyday? How do I get freedom, to live that kind of life that I want to live, that is suitable for me? But we never ask the same question in our business and the way we design our business. And I think that's super interesting. So let's talk about principles. These are not rules. And the reason I don't like design rules is that, again, it takes away authority. And I don't want to be your authority. And I truly hope that you don't want anybody to be your authority, because you are your authority, right? So these are not rules, these are principles. So principle number 1, when we design a business that doesn't burn you out, where you can thrive in, is design for your default state. And I know this is almost obvious, but I haven't met a lot of female entrepreneurs who actually thought about this in this way. And I think it's because we generally are ambitious people, and visionaries. And sometimes like just saying the word realistic, we're like, oh God, I don't want to talk about realistic. I want to talk about expansion. I want to talk about vision, So designing for your default state means, who am I on an average Tuesday? Not at my peak. What systems work for me when I'm not hyper motivated? Average Tuesday, how would I design my business so it would work for me on an average Tuesday? So I don't have to perform 200% every single day, but just 100%, which is more than enough to get your business going, right? And if your business only works when you are 200% on, then it becomes super fragile. And honestly, it will like tank your energy slowly or fast. We don't know that, right? Principle number 2 is to separate growth phases from maintenance phases. So name this clearly in your business. A growth phase means temporary pressure. It could be intentional focus on a specific product or a pivot. It could be a clear beginning and end, like a campaign or launch. When we talk about maintenance and maintenance phases, this means like sustainability. There are like a sustainable income in my business. There are a sustainable team in my business. There is a sustainable everyday in my business, right? We have rhythms, like we know over the year when to sell and when to be visible, for example. And we have recovery phases. So for example, if we do a launch, we make sure that we have a recovery phase after that launch. If everything is always growth, like grow, then there's no place to recover and rejuvenate. And actually, like this is a topic for a completely different podcast, but your best work is done in that recovery. And I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but follow me here. It is in the pauses, the in-between breaths, that innovation happens. This is where you connect to your own inner genius. So if we keep on like taking action, we always on, we do all the time, then we disconnect from we could call it intuition or inner genius, right? That happens if we want our business to grow. It's not sustainable, and it will, like if you want a quantum leap, or if you want to like really get into that phase where you can go from, for example, 100 clients to 10,000 clients, you need a place where you can become silent, and where you can connect, and where you can really feel into like, what is the aligned next step to my vision. That doesn't mean that there's no growth in your business. It just means that you intentionally plan for recovery and rejuvenation, right? Principle number 3 is let structure carry. So you don't have to be disciplined all the time. And honestly, like again, I've been working with so many creatives, people who are like, they're geniuses. They are amazing at what they do. They're passionate about it. The moment I say structure, they're like, it's so boring. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not a very structured person. But let me say, if you want a business that frees up your time, where you don't have to work in your business all the time, like this is where the goal is. So structure can look like evergreen funnels, like instead of constant launching as a primary business model, right? A clear offer structure instead of constantly have to reinvent new offers. Could be a simple content system instead of like emotionally posting every time you feel you're behind. It could be a simple client attraction system that constantly brings in people in your business that you can sell to the next time. Like for example, I was just sparring partner for one of my clients' bigger launches, and they tripled their sales revenue because of one thing. And that was because they built a system that actually brought in new potential clients for the last year. So they launched this product once a year. They brought in new clients using my client attraction system, and they tripled their sales revenue. And this is actually quite huge because they only do this once a year. So for them, that was like a huge thing, right? So I see it this way. Structure isn't like a rigid thing. Structure is like the system or the container for your genius. And it actually allows you to be in your softness. It allows you to be in your more feminine energy without everything turns into chaos, right? And there's like no structure, no responsibility and all that stuff. So it's a huge relief to think structure in your business. Principle number 4 is that to not use resilience to avoid hard conversations and difficult decisions. And it's a little bit a subtle one, this one, but it's kind of important. Sometimes we call it resilience, like it's good to be resilient. But what it actually is being constantly in hard mode. And that means that we avoid simplifying, we avoid choosing, making those hard decisions. And we avoid letting things go, closing things down. We avoid the conversation. And we think like pushing is a good thing. Like I was taught to work hard, so it's a good thing. And it can feel noble, right? Because deciding can feel really scary. But the thing is that leadership is decision. Like it is making hard decisions. It's not like keep on being in the resilience and just endure. And I think that's like the principle that is kind of important to lean into. And it takes a lot of like, you have to be brave. You really have to be brave to cut the pattern of being resilient in your business, because you're actually just avoiding to make decisions, right? So these 4 principles, you can already now today, you can just reflect upon it, and I'm just going to recap them. So principle number 1 is design your business for your default state and not like for your 100%, not your 200%. Principle number 2 is to be very intentional and clear about what is actually a growth phase and what is a maintenance phase. So you make sure that it's okay to push in the growth phase, but not everything has to be growth. It has to be maintenance phases as well. Number 3 is create structure and let that carry your business, so you don't have to be disciplined all the time and rely on your own discipline. And also, principle number 4 is to stop using resilience and like that mentality of working hard to actually avoid making the hard decisions in your business or having the difficult conversations. So that's what I want to leave you with today. And also I want to like, this is a principle. It's not one of the principles to redesign, but it is a principle or like a guideline that I find to be extremely important in my own life. And especially if you go through something that is extremely hard or difficult, then I just want to remind you that whatever challenges you, allow that to become your strength. Like allow you to use that to build character, to gain experience, to become a stronger, wiser version of yourself, without becoming hard, like without closing down your heart. And also, we are actually meant to build something that is meaningful, that is, that is like a true picture painting of our passion, right? Without sacrificing your nervous system, so without burnout. And it's okay if you have to push through. Like, being resilient is not a bad thing, and it is required from time to time, but your business should go back to peaceful after that. And if it doesn't, and you notice that you're constantly overcompensating, then it's an invitation basically for you to look at what needs to be redesigned in your business instead of you having to push harder and harder and harder. So, if this episode stirred something in you, then go to my Instagram and let me know. I would love to hear from you. What is your takeaway? What is something that you learned from this episode? Or what is just like, did you get like a aha, like, oh yeah, that's for sure how it is. I would love that. I love the conversations we're having in my DMs. So jump to Instagram, let me know what you think. Also, if you want to work with me, I created a new course called Reclaim Clarity. And that is my framework for, making aligned decisions. And aligned decisions are money-making decisions. So it's decisions that are rooted in alignment for you. It's not decisions you make out of fear. It's not decisions you make out of doubt, confusion. So Reclaim Clarity actually is my signature process to take you from confused or fearful or hesitant, overwhelmed, into this crystal clear clarity moment in your business where you can make a decision that will actually take you to that next place in your business. And it's really amazing. It's very simple, to be honest, but it works wonders. So definitely go check that out. If you are in the validation phase of your business, you're just starting out, you want to build a business on feminine principles that actually gets you your client, gets you to 10K per month without that constant pressure, without that feeling overwhelmed, confused all the time, then go check out Rising Star. It's my 6-step program that I created. It's a program that I have taken, hundreds of people through to help them really build that online business that makes them 10K per month. So definitely go check that out if you're looking for a container where somebody just teach you everything. And you don't have to listen to like 2,000 different gurus and experts, and where you can just get ultra focused on building something that lasts for you, something that's authentic you, something that doesn't burn you out, but still get like the real results. So definitely go check that out. I linked it below. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you here in the podcast next week and presenting the next topic for you. If you have any topic you would love for me to talk about here in the Blue Sofa, again, shoot me a DM. Let me know if it's something that I know something about. I'm more than happy to share. So thank you for listening today. Have an absolutely stunning day, and I will see you in the next episode.